So the question on a lot of people's minds is, why do the Rockets look as bad as they do? And if I had a straight answer for that, then I'd be a magician or some sort of prophet. That is a good question to ask. And I think, the season early on started off with people looking at the players, and a lot of it has shifted now to the coaching. And rightfully so, because when we watch these games, there's a certain structure missing from what we see on the court for the Houston Rockets. When you look at, the games, it seems as though that the players are intent on doing what they want to do in their minds. And it doesn't look like any kind of formation of a game plan or anything that was discussed at practice. Now, the question is, who is to blame for this? Is this the fault of the players, or is it the fault of the coaching? First, I'm going to point out, that a lot of people do go a little too far in accusing Coach Silas for, I guess, not knowing basketball, or I don't think that's the case. I think his history and his work in the league speaks for itself as it relates to him understanding the game of basketball. You can tell that he has a very deep mind for it. He's a guy that that he's probably forgotten more basketball than any of us would ever know. So what then is the issue with his game plan or whatever is in his head not translating over to our players? And I think that's where really the problems come in. It's not that he doesn't know basketball. It's that the basketball he knows is not reaching over to the young players that he has. And is it going to be a problem where you have somebody that has a certain ideal that can't be shaped to the talent that they have? Or does he have a grander scheme of something that he's trying to build over here? Currently, what it looks like, and some of, based on the interviews that we've seen, it seems like they do talk about some of these things, but the players aren't able to execute them. Which to me, you could look at it from different angles. But to me, at the end of the day, the job of a coach is to implement that game plan and execute it with your players. So if you can't do that, then you're not doing your job very well, regardless of the age of your players. There's one thing to try a plan and fail at it. There's another thing to not do the plan at all. And I think that's where a lot of the concern from the fan base is coming, is that we're getting on interviews after the game saying, hey, we wanted to do this, but the guys didn't do it. Hey, I want them to do this. You're the coach, bro. You're the coach. Talk to your players. If they respect you, allow them to be able to execute the game plan. If they don't execute the game plan, then there needs to be some form of consequences for that, whether it's benching or cutting off guys, minutes or whatever it is, because none of them are good enough right now on our team that they should be above the law or whatever that may be. Or is there a law? I guess is the question we want to ask. This brings into the question or the topic about what type of coaching fits a rebuild. And my view on this is that when you have a bunch of 19, 20, 21 year olds, really that laissez-faire kind of interaction where you try to be their friend and be like a mentor or a guidance person for them as they grow, it works to an extent if there was structure in place. But if you're the head coach, your job is to implement structure, implement discipline. And young men need discipline. Young men need structure. I'm sure that the guys love Coach Silas, and I'm sure that, everybody loves him and loves to interact with him. But it seems like his personality style doesn't really translate into the type of structure that these young men need. Now, there's been a lot made about him being somebody that worked with Steph Curry and he worked with this guy, but that was in the form of an assistant coach. And I just don't think that you can have that same relationship as an assistant coach as a head coach. Because while he was working with Steph Curry, while he was working with LeBron, there was a head coach that was busting them up, being hard on them, setting those rules for the team that they were able to play under while he did his thing. So maybe that relationship isn't something that's translatable to being a head coach. It's one thing to have, love and affection for your players. Is another thing to be able to lead men into doing things that they don't want to do. It's uncomfortable to have structure. It's uncomfortable for guys to want to, change their habits. It's uncomfortable to not be comfortable in what you're doing, but that's what it takes for them to be able to get to that next level. And currently it seems that they are kind of stalling. Now, watching the Blazers game, it wasn't as bad as it came off. They did a lot of good things. I would say Kevin Porter Jr.'s effort on defense has been top notch. He has been, working really hard, and I could tell that there was a concerted effort by him in this game to be able to distribute the ball, get it out to the guys, and not just be so ISO, even though he did fall into ISO. But his defense tells me his mind is right. And that is something that we can definitely build off of. Some of the other players, it seems everybody's given the effort. I just don't feel like these guys are in the position to be successful. And I don't know who to attribute that to. Is it them not taking the things that they learn in practice? Or is it the coaches aren't seeing the talent and being able to maximize them? I think that question is going to determine whether Coach Silas is going to be the coach of this team going forward. Because as it currently stands, regardless of who we draft, whether it's Wemby, Scoot, or both, in this current team, with this current structure, with the way they're playing, we will still be a lottery team for the next few years. And once you get to that level where you're a lottery team and picking top 5, 3, 4, 5 years in a row, we're in the Kings territory. You're becoming one of the worst franchises in the NBA. I know that's not going to happen because I'm not going to wish that on the Houston Rockets. I'm not going to wish that on our fan base. But we do need to see some improvement in just the structure of the team going forward. It's never about wins and losses. It's about structure, growth, and development. The Jalen slump he's in, that's just a slump. Those shots he's missing, he'll make those. His effort on defense is still there, and that's what I always watch. Jabari has a long way to go. I think he's going to be a project that's going to take a couple years to really get to where he can maximize his skill set. Some of the other guys on the team, Knicks had a good game shooting. Eric Gordon made a concerted effort to pass the ball and not be a tunnel vision god. But overall, the game, the Blazers are a buzzsaw. They're like a mini Warriors, mini Heat right now. They got their backcourt is just crazy, even without Dame. Sharpe is a beast. They cut. They do all the things that I wish our team would do. If you watch that Blazers offense, there's so many things we could take away. I wish that was us, right? They're cutting, they're screening on the weak side, they're screening off ball. If somebody's in a post, somebody's cutting, somebody's setting a screen. They're always moving in transition. They fill the correct lanes and attack the gaps. They're shooting off their shooting is good. They have versatile defenders and all sorts of versatility on their roster. They're going to be a good team, and they're going to be competing in the Western Conference. I see them actually finishing top 5 in the West. So that's not an easy team to get a dub against. I think the guys tried hard. They just failed. And they need to just keep building on some of the things that they did well. The ball movement was better this game. I think Alperen helped a lot in that department. His screens really helped the guards. Everybody made an effort. We're just not good right now. What do you think the reason was that the team's looking as bad as they are? We know they're going to suck. We know that we're not going to be a top team. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is it the coaching? Is it the players? Is it both? Is there any hope for us? Do you see a way where we can get to where we want to get to? And as always, you have to always click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and, just keep rocking with us for this fire content at the Rockets Chop Shop.